Hello, I'm Beth Green. I'm the founder of the innerrevolution.org. I'm also the host of Inner Revolutionary Radio, Inner Revolutionary TV, Beth Green TV on our YouTube. And I'd like to talk to you today about values. No, don't hang up right away. I'm not coming in with some religious shtick, and I'm not a right-winger who's trying to impose my values on other people. And in fact, what I'm trying to talk about is getting past all of the partisanship and all the polarization around values. It really bothers me, and I don't know if it bothers you, when there are some people who claim to have the values and that other people don't. So whether you are an atheist or a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or an agnostic, or you believe in a Native American spirituality, or you just don't care, you can be with us together teaching and embodying universal human values. In fact, isn't that what our religious and spiritual systems are supposed to be bringing us? It's really sad how much we use values as a way of beating each other up, polarizing, and acting like we are holier than thou. And it's kind of scary to me because right now we're in the middle of a presidential election, and I hear people doing that. And that scares me because I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear about universal human values. Now, I thought that our nation was great, not because of its attachment to any particular religion, but because it espoused, at least, universal human values. We were not perfect. We still had slavery. Women still didn't get the right to vote. There was a lot of problems that we had in our nation. But we didn't say that all men are created equal, but we don't mean women. There were things in there about slavery, but that we're kind of unhappy about. But it didn't say all white people are created equal, and Asians, blacks, and Hispanics should take a number. We really came together as a nation around what I consider universal human values. And those are secular. See, the secular values are getting a beating because people assume or are saying that the problem with our nation is secular values. Well, I think it's very interesting if you really look at it, that our problem is that we don't value our oneness. And that is neither religious, spiritual, nor secular. That is what I think the problem is, that we don't see each other as ourselves. We don't treat each other, the golden rule. That's a huge problem in our value system. I think that we have seen in our nation a problem that we have worshipped money. We've worshipped prestige. We've worshipped power. We still do it. He made a lot of money, so that must mean he's a great guy and he can really help us. We have worshipped sexuality in women. Women have become demigods because they're gorgeous, or by somebody's definition. We have worshipped the value of our sexuality. These are things that are not universal human values, if you ask me. These are, and they're not secular, because you have this equally in religious and non-religious people, you see. We have way too much value on things, property and material, and not enough value on caring, love, and compassion. Now, I bet you agree with me. I think if you look in your own heart, you'll say, what our world doesn't need is more billionaires or more people who beat their children. What our world really needs is more nurturance for us, for one another, and for the kids that we're raising. Now, I also believe that a universal human value, which connects to oneness, again, is equality. That means that if we have any kind of sense of oneness, which could be considered spiritual and not spiritual, then we know that we are all made of the same stuff. I mean, this is even science, that we're all the same species. We're made of atoms and these kind of particles. We're all basically the same. We all have emotions. We all have needs. We have so much in common. You see, if we are really going to have universal human values, we have to see that we're all one. We can come together around that, but sometimes our political or religious values get in the way of our human values. When we start looking at people from the perspective of some doctrine or some dogma, we say, well, they're no good. See, because they, in the Bible or in whatever, it says that, or we don't even know that that's true, but it's interpreted that way. So, what's happening to the universal value, human value of the sanctity of all life? See, we're saying only heterosexuals should have the sanctity of life, you see? So what's happening is we see a lot of conflict between the values that we know are universal, which is the value of our oneness, the value of equality, the value of all beings, the value of everyone as an aspect of the divine, that there is a very clear sense of value. And then we have religious values or political values or materialistic values that seem to fly in the way of that, see? So I'm challenging us right now, first of all, to take a look. And I want you to look in your own heart for a moment and say, what do I really value? Not what I say I value, but do I really value? Others, compassion, caring, and love? Or do I really value money, prestige, power, the ability to dominate others, separating into them and us, the good guys and the bad guys? Which do I really value? I'm going to give you a minute to think about that. Think about what you really value and be honest. Well, have you been honest? If God were standing here today, if there were a God, and I'm not saying that there is or there isn't, but if God were standing here today, what would God say about what you value? Are you valuing control over your wife or partnership and equality? Are you valuing the being of another person, whatever their gender or sexual orientation, color, race, class, religion, language? Or are you erecting walls in yourself and saying, these are good, these are bad. These are the good people, these are the bad people. What are you valuing? Are you really valuing do unto others what you would have others do unto you? Or are you valuing ego, force, violence, control over others? Are you valuing the nurturance of other people and the development of them to become whatever they can be, their potential? Or are you trying to impose your view on them about who you think they should be? Or are you, in fact, just trying to get ahead? There's a big difference between secularism and materialism. We can value the fact that our nation is secular, meaning that no particular religion or spiritual system is dominating, and at the same time value life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That we can also value the beingness of every being, because didn't we say that we're all created equal? That came out of secularism, my friends. Not necessarily out of religion, because a lot of our religious systems don't see us as being created equal. So what I'm calling for is a rethinking of values, what our values are, Where do our values come from? And what are their impact on the way that we live? So the first value that I'm talking about is the value of seeing each other as one. You know, as some have said, I am my brother's keeper, or as I would say, I am my brother. That is a value. Are we behaving according to that value? Are we behaving according to the values of taking care of the earth, which we have been gifted with? Whether we're religious or not, we are gifted every day with the fruits of the earth, the air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the food that we eat. These are gifts of the earth. Do we value them, or are we exploiting them? Are we caring about the way that we're treating our earth, or are we polluting? Are we putting profits before not only people, but before everything else, other species, the health of the infrastructure of the earth itself? Are we valuing those gifts? Are we valuing understanding and compassion? Or are we valuing ego and competition? I can tell you that I also have a tendency from time to time, or more often than I would like to admit, that I have a tendency to go into judgment or get angry, or, I don't want to be compassionate. I don't like you. I don't like what you're doing. I don't like what you're saying, and I don't even want to understand where you're coming from. Because you hurt me, and that's all there is to it. Or I don't agree with you, and that's it. I don't even want to know why you think something different from the way I think. There's something wrong with that. I know we all do it, but hey, you know what's wrong with that? We are not valuing compassion, which is the ability to feel what the other one is feeling, the ability to be in someone else's shoes. Now, I am not saying that you have to agree with everything that other people do or say. Personally, I feel that whenever you're doing something that is hurtful to others, you better think about that. I mean, really think about it. I don't care what kind of excuse you're using. I think you need to take a look at that. But how many of us actually say that caring for others and trying to understand others is a high value? I think most of us value winning. Don't you? Don't you want to win that argument? Don't you want to win that promotion? Don't you want to win more money? Don't you want to look like a winner? Haven't we made being a winner valuable? That has nothing to do with being secular or religious. That has to do with being distorted and messed up. Because we haven't been trained to be loving, compassionate, and cooperative. You grow up in a society of competition and domination, and it just becomes a part of you. It's like it's part of your DNA. We are trying to develop a program called Unleashing the Power of Kids, which is emphasizing fitness and cooperation and service and thought. And I love this because we are instilling certain values in our children. And in order to do that, we have to embody them ourselves. Oh my God, am I taking care of myself really? Oh, no. I'm putting money way before my own fitness and well-being. And am I emphasizing cooperation? Oh, no. I'm really emphasizing winning, dominating. Let's get honest about this. Even with my own husband, I might want to win, right? Especially with my own husband, I might want to win. And are we really valuing service? Service not because we're going to go to heaven because we're so good, or because we should take care of the poor because they're so pathetic, but are we valuing service because it gives us self-esteem to support the whole, to support other people is what makes us feel valuable. But I didn't learn that supporting and helping people makes me feel valuable. What made me valuable was winning and being smarter than everybody else. Or if you're athletic, being number one or being the number one company. That's what made us valuable, not the service that we give every day to others. No, that has not That was not what I learned. And critical thought, thinking, are you kidding? People are not valued for thinking independently. They're valued for towing the line and doing what the society expects them to do and fitting in. And like my mother used to say to me, she said, it just isn't done. It just isn't done, Beth. And, it just isn't done. See, that was what was valued, was fitting into society. I don't consider that a value. I consider thought, critical thinking, the ability to think for yourself and be able to expand our horizons beyond what we already have. This is a program that I believe is very important. It teaches values. It has nothing to do with religion. We are completely non-denominational. We are completely, open to everybody of any type, shape, form, because that's what we value. We value inclusivity and oneness. This is an example of what I'm talking about, that we need to start thinking about our values. We need to train our children in real values, in caring, in responsibility, in accountability, that I value accountability. So many people will make up excuses for everything, and they think that if they can get away with it, then they've won something. That erodes the soul, guys. We are accountable for everything that we do, think, and feel, and we're accountable for the actions that we take based on those things. That is a value. I value accountability way more than I value perfection. Somebody comes and pretends that they've done a great job, but they're hiding what they've done. Who cares about all their... No, I don't care if you've done a perfect job. Just take accountability for it, because I value that. These are values. These are values that we all need. We need to look honestly at how we are treating one another, how we're treating ourselves, and how we are treating the earth. Don't leave values to the other guy. Don't take your values from a religious, political, or social system without examining what, in fact, are we teaching? What, in fact, are we embodying? Use your critical thinking. Ask yourself, if you are a spiritual person or a religious person, what would Jesus think about what you're doing right now as you have your hand raised to your child because you're angry? Valuing obedience, the little woman coming in and doing what you want. And if you're not a Christian, if you could ask yourself, how would Buddha approach this situation? How would Moses? Yeah. Let's have real values, because real values are universal. We will never polarize if we come together honestly with our hearts open, if we let go of all the ideas that we think we have and everything we think we already know, and we come together with compassion and ask ourselves and our higher power, if we have one, what would be for the highest good of all, including me? That's what I value, what is for the highest good of all, and I ask you to do the same. Thank you.